The galaxy was vast, an unending sea of stars and distant planets. For centuries, the inhabitants of the Xanthian galaxy had searched for signs of life beyond their own advanced civilization. But what they found on the planet Veridis was nothing short of mind-bending. Zar, the captain of the Zenthara fleet, had heard rumors about a mysterious planet known only as Veridis. A faint signal had been picked up from there, one that was too structured to be a natural phenomenon. After months of travel through the cosmic void, the Zenthara finally arrived. Their scanners immediately began picking up odd readings: an atmosphere rich with oxygen, water in abundance, and what seemed like large-scale, organized settlements on the surface. "Prepare for landing," Zar commanded, his voice filled with curiosity. The crew had no idea what to expect, but they were about to make a discovery that would shake their understanding of the universe. As the fleet descended into the planet's atmosphere, the landscape below seemed eerily familiar. Vast cities with towering structures rose up like ancient civilizations, but they weren't built by any alien species. The architecture was unmistakably human. "They're human," Zar murmured, disbelief in his voice. The Zenthara scanners confirmed it. There were humans living here, thriving in a technologically advanced society. But there was something incredibly peculiar about this colony. The human structures were unlike any seen before. It wasn't the advanced technology that surprised the Zenthara. It was the fact that the humans seemed to have mastered a completely different way of life. Zar and his crew ventured down to the surface. The planet's inhabitants greeted them, not with fear or aggression, but with open arms and smiles. They spoke the Zenthara language fluently, as if they'd been waiting for this moment for eons. "You've found us," said a woman, her eyes gleaming with wisdom beyond her years. "We've been here longer than you can imagine." Zar's mind raced. This wasn't a regular human colony. These humans had unlocked secrets about the universe, secrets that no one should have known. They'd discovered the key to interdimensional travel, bending the very fabric of reality to their will. How was this possible? As the humans led the Zenthara into their central city, Zar saw a glowing artifact at the heart of their civilization. It shimmered with energy, pulsating with a force that could bend time itself. The artifact, the humans explained, had been left behind by an ancient alien race, one that had once ruled the galaxy. The Zenthara had always prided themselves on their advanced technology, but in the presence of this human colony, they felt like mere children. The humans weren't just survivors of a long-forgotten experiment. They were the custodians of something far older and far more powerful than anyone had imagined. But the real shock came when Zar asked, "How did you learn to harness this power?" The woman smiled, and for the first time, Zar realized the truth. The humans weren't just living in the galaxy, they were shaping it. Their civilization had been here for millennia, hidden away from the rest of the cosmos, waiting for the right moment to reveal itself. "You see," the woman said softly, "our world is not what it seems. The colony you found is a portal to every possibility, every parallel universe. We control the threads of existence. And now, we invite you to join us." The Zenthara were left in stunned silence. What did this mean for the future of the galaxy? Was the universe truly as vast as they had always believed, or had they merely scratched the surface of something far greater? As Zar looked into the woman's eyes, he realized that the discovery of this hidden human colony was just the beginning. The galaxy would never be the same again. Zar stood there, absorbing the enormity of what the woman had just revealed. The weight of her words lingered in the air, thick with promise and danger. The Zenthara had always prided themselves on their technological superiority, but this human colony had just turned everything they knew upside down. Parallel universes, threads of existence, interdimensional travel. These were concepts Zar had only heard of in legends, and now they were right in front of him. "How?" Zar asked, his voice shaky with a mixture of awe and skepticism. How did any of this happen?" The woman nodded as if she had anticipated the question. "It started long ago, before even the oldest records of your people. A race far older than anyone in this galaxy, a race that predated even the stars we see now, created the artifact you see before you. They were the architects of the multiverse. They seeded countless worlds with knowledge, with the ability to tap into the hidden layers of reality. But when they vanished, they left behind their creations, us." The rest of the crew, still silent, exchanged uncertain glances. The gravity of her words was starting to sink in. These humans were not ordinary survivors. They were the inheritors of cosmic knowledge, the bearers of the keys to the universe itself. Our colony here on Veridis, the woman continued, was just one of many. But over time, our people grew separate, isolated. We kept ourselves hidden, away from the prying eyes of the galaxies, for fear of what might happen if this power fell into the wrong hands. Zar couldn't help but feel a chill run down his spine. He had always believed the galaxy was a place of order, of science and reason. But here, among the humans of Veridis, he was confronted with the unimaginable. The very fabric of reality was malleable, shaped by ancient beings who had long since vanished. One of Zar's officers, a young technician named Lyra, stepped forward, her curiosity outweighing her caution. "You're saying that the power of the artifact allows you to alter the flow of time? To move between dimensions?" The woman smiled faintly, a hint of sadness in her eyes. "Yes. But it's not something to be taken lightly. Every action, every choice, every shift in reality comes with a cost. A ripple. And sometimes, those ripples can shatter entire worlds." Zar's heart raced. The potential dangers of such power were staggering. He had witnessed the destruction of entire civilizations through reckless use of advanced technology, but this was something far beyond anything he could have imagined. "But you've been living in isolation," Zar said, trying to wrap his mind around the implications. "Why? Why keep such power hidden? We've seen the consequences of exposing this knowledge to those unprepared for it," the woman replied softly. "The architects warned us that even the most well-meaning civilizations could bring chaos with such knowledge. There have been incidents. Civilizations that have fallen to greed, ambition, and fear." Zar swallowed hard. He could see it now, the dangers of this power. He could already feel the temptation creeping into his mind. If his people had access to the artifact, they could rule the galaxy. They could reshape the universe itself, creating a utopia or a dystopia, depending on how it was used. But the woman's eyes narrowed, as if reading his thoughts. "You must understand, Captain, that it's not just about power. It's about responsibility. The universe has its balance, and we must protect it. If the wrong hands take hold of the artifact, it could unravel everything." Zar had no answers, only more questions. The magnitude of the decision before him weighed heavily on his shoulders. Could his people be trusted with such knowledge? Could he? As if sensing his turmoil, the woman placed a hand on his arm, her touch surprisingly warm. "You don't have to decide now, Captain. We will show you the other worlds. We will take you to the places where reality bends and stretches. You'll see for yourself the beauty and the danger that come with this power." The rest of the crew stood in silence, their faces a mixture of awe and fear. They had come to Veridis expecting to discover a human colony, perhaps a primitive outpost of long-lost survivors. Instead, they had found the gate to an entirely new dimension of existence, a place where reality itself was as fluid as water. Zar turned away from the woman, staring at the shimmering artifact that stood at the center of the city. Its glow pulsed rhythmically, almost like a heartbeat, as if it were alive. The possibilities were endless, but so were the risks. "What will you do now?" the woman asked, her voice soft but filled with an undeniable sense of finality. Zar took a deep breath, his mind racing. He had always believed that his people were ready for anything, that they could conquer any challenge. But this was different. The choice before him wasn't one of conquest or survival. It was a choice of fate. He turned back to the woman, meeting her gaze. "Show me," he said simply. "Show me everything." And with that, the Zenthara crew was led beyond the veil of reality, to the farthest reaches of the universe, into a future that was still unwritten, where the lines between science, magic, and possibility blurred into one. But as they stepped through the portal, Zar couldn't shake the feeling that they were not just explorers on a journey. They were stepping into something far greater than themselves. Something that had been waiting for them. And with every passing moment, the stakes grew higher. The true nature of the artifact, and the secrets of the human colony, was only just beginning to unfold. ChatGPT said. As Zar and his crew stepped into the glowing portal, the universe around them seemed to dissolve into a spectrum of shifting colors, a kaleidoscope of possibilities. Time, space, and reality blended together into an endless canvas of swirling energy. For a moment, they felt weightless, as if they were drifting through the very fabric of existence itself. Then, with a sudden jolt, they were back on solid ground, on a new world. The landscape was unlike anything they had ever seen. Towering structures floated in mid-air, held aloft by energy fields that hummed with power. Above them, the sky twisted and bent in strange ways, forming constellations that had no place in their galaxy. The laws of physics seemed to bend and break in this place, where reality could be molded at will. Zar's crew gaped in awe, their minds struggling to comprehend the magnitude of what they were witnessing. The woman, who had led them here, smiled knowingly as she gestured to the alien world around them. "This is one of many," she explained. "A reality shaped by the artifact's power. Welcome to the Nexus." The word echoed in Zar's mind. The Nexus. It was more than a place, it was a crossroads, a point where all possible realities converged. It was here that the architects had created the threads of existence, weaving together countless dimensions, timelines, and universes. Each world was a reflection of the choices made by civilizations, a snapshot of potential futures. "This is where we live," the woman continued. "But it's also where we watch. From here, we can see all the other possibilities, all the outcomes that could arise. Every decision ripples through the multiverse, creating new paths, new futures." Zar took a hesitant step forward, his mind reeling. You can see everything? All the possibilities?" "Not everything," she replied, "but enough to understand the risks. We were tasked with keeping the balance, with ensuring that no one civilization grows too powerful, too reckless. The artifact is not just a tool, it's a responsibility. The power to shape reality must be wielded carefully, or it will undo everything." Zar's mind raced as he processed her words. He could feel the weight of her message, the gravity of what they had stumbled upon. This was no ordinary discovery. The power they had found on Veridis was far beyond any weapon, any technology, or any civilization they had ever encountered. It was a force that could reshape the very essence of existence. But then, a thought crossed Zar's mind, one that sent a shiver down his spine. "What happens if someone misuses this power?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. The woman's expression darkened, and she stepped closer to Zar, lowering her voice. "That is why we've been hidden away. The last time someone tried to wield this power for their own gain, it caused a collapse, a tear in the fabric of reality itself. Worlds were lost, civilizations erased from existence. The Nexus nearly fell apart. It took us centuries to repair the damage." Zar's heart pounded. The idea of such devastation was terrifying, but what terrified him more was the thought that the Zenthara could fall victim to the same temptation. What if they became the next civilization to misuse the artifact's power? "We have kept our existence secret for so long," the woman continued, "because we cannot afford to let anyone else make the same mistake. The multiverse is fragile. It cannot survive the careless use of such power. And that is why you were brought here, Captain." Zar's brow furrowed. "Why us?" "Because you are not like the others," she said, her gaze steady. "The Zenthara are driven by curiosity, by the desire to understand. You seek knowledge, not conquest. You are not the first to discover us, but you are the first to approach us with respect. You have the potential to use this power wisely, if you are willing to learn." Zar stared at her, uncertainty swirling within him. Could they really be trusted with such a responsibility? The temptation was great. The power to change the very course of history, to bend the laws of nature and create a utopia, or a dystopia, was too much to ignore. But the consequences of misuse were equally dire. He turned to his crew, their faces mirroring the same mix of wonder and fear. They had come here seeking answers, but now they were faced with a choice far greater than any they had imagined. Zar closed his eyes, thinking of the galaxy they had left behind, of the countless civilizations that had risen and fallen throughout history. The Zenthara had always prided themselves on their ability to adapt, to survive, to thrive. But what would they become if they embraced the power of the Nexus? Would they rise to greatness, or fall into chaos? "Captain," Lyra said, her voice breaking the silence, "what do we do now?" Zar opened his eyes and met her gaze, his decision forming in his mind. The future of their people, and perhaps the entire galaxy, was at stake. He knew what he had to do. "We learn," he said firmly. "We learn everything we can. And we keep the balance. We won't let this power consume us." The woman smiled, her expression filled with approval. "That is the first step, Captain. And a wise one. But remember, the road ahead is not easy. The Nexus will test you. It will challenge your very beliefs, your understanding of reality itself." Zar nodded, the weight of her words settling over him. He had no illusions about the dangers ahead. The Nexus was a place of unimaginable power, a place where every choice could alter the fabric of the multiverse. But they had come this far, and there was no turning back now. With a deep breath, Zar turned to his crew, the resolve in his heart growing stronger. "Let's begin. Together." And so, the Zenthara embarked on a journey like no other, a journey into the heart of the Nexus, where the boundaries of reality were forever blurred, and where the fate of the universe itself hung in the balance. The adventure had only just begun, and the choices they made would echo through every possible future. Years passed in the Nexus, though time, as the Zenthara once understood it, had long lost meaning. Under the guidance of the humans of Veridis and the enigmatic artifact, Zar and his crew came to master the truths of existence once hidden from them. They studied the branching timelines, the echoes of civilizations that never were, and the ghosts of choices unmade. The Nexus was not just a place, it was a proving ground for the soul. They saw worlds where the Zenthara had seized the artifact and forged an empire of light, and others where they became tyrants over crumbling dimensions. They witnessed what became of other civilizations who had stumbled upon the Nexus, some noble, others consumed by ambition and fear. But in the end, it was Zar who stood before the heart of the Nexus, the artifact now awakened fully for the first time in eons. Its voice, neither male nor female, neither sound nor thought, echoed in his mind. "You have seen. You have learned. Now, you must choose. Will your kind become guardians, or wielders?" Zar turned to his crew, now changed in ways far beyond the physical. Lyra's eyes shimmered with timelines she had glimpsed, others bore marks of realities they had touched. He thought of his home, of the stars beyond the Nexus that still burned bright with uncertainty and hope. "We were not meant to rule reality," Zar said aloud. "But we were meant to protect it." And with those words, Zar placed his hand upon the artifact. Light poured from it, not blinding, but gentle, like the first rays of a sun rising over a long-lost world. Across the multiverse, a ripple surged, not one of chaos, but of balance. Forking timelines stabilized. Dangerous anomalies sealed themselves. The Nexus responded not with destruction, but with trust. The artifact reshaped itself into a crystalline sphere, dimming its raw power. A safeguard. A pact. No longer a weapon or a key, but a bond between those who would protect the fabric of existence and the multiverse itself. The woman, now revealed to be the last living emissary of the architects, approached. "You have chosen well," she said. "The role of the Zenthara is no longer that of explorers, but of stewards." Zar nodded. The Zenthara did not return home. Instead, they became something more, watchers of the Nexus, the quiet sentinels between worlds. They built sanctuaries on hidden planes, guiding lost travelers, correcting dangerous imbalances, and ensuring the mistakes of the past would never be repeated. And so, the story of Veridis, the lost human colony, became legend. Not as a tale of conquest or technology, but of wisdom hard-earned, of a people who found the heart of the multiverse, and chose to protect it, not for power, but for all that could be. Because in the end, it was never about who held the artifact. It was about who could let it go.